Yeah, hi there. These comments are for FS, and let's take a look at your situation here. You say, this is FS, your new student. It is my pleasure to learn from and be under your supervision. I am an overseas pharmacist, and I need scores. You want to say here probably so I need subtotal scores of 29 reading, 21 listening, 26 speaking, 24 writing. I have taken the TOEFL 6 times. My score were as follows. I would say here are, because they are this way now. Your scores remain whatever they are, whether it's the past or present. So my scores are as follows. First attempt, September. So you had 22 reading, 21 listening, 26 speaking, and dang it, you got 22 on the writing. So you didn't make it on this one. Now your second attempt in January, you had 20 points reading, 20 points listening, 24 points speaking, and 22 points on the writing. So this one was just bad all around. So you didn't make it on the reading, the listening, speaking, or writing. Your third attempt, you had 21 reading, 22 listening, 27 nice speaking, 24 writing. So here you did not make it on the reading section. That's it. This is a very strong score right here. You almost... Actually, no, you just missed it on the reading one, right? So just one section. Everything else was good. Okay, then your fourth attempt, you had 23 reading, 25 listening, which is good, but darn it, you got 24 points in the speaking, and you got 28 points on the writing. Then your fifth attempt, you had 21 points in the reading, 27 points in the listening, 27 on the speaking, and 28 on the writing. Wow, and you got to be kidding me. You just didn't quite make it here on the reading. Then your sixth attempt is 23 points reading, 23 points listening, 26 speaking, and just you got murdered on the writing section for a total of 89. You say, my last attempt, my writing score was 20 before rescoring. Are you kidding me? So they rescored it and it went even lower? Wow. That means they have at least 2 people reading these, by the way. You say, as you can see, it is kind of weird and frustrating for me since I cannot figure out what the problem is. I'm asking for help. I need to know what is wrong with me and why I don't get the high scores in all sections. I'd probably change this to on the same test. What is the best studying strategy I should follow now? I booked a test on the 29th of August and I don't mind. I would say here, I don't mind to reschedule it if you see this will help. Yeah, it might be a good idea. Why don't you work, how about this, work for 30 days and shoot for the end of September. Can you do that? So you can shoot for a TOEFL exam on September 29th maybe. Alright, so you're doing a pretty good job here, so I'm going to give you some suggestions of some things. Obviously you understand the TOEFL, you know the format, you know the structure, you know the question types, because you've been taking it many times, so you don't really need to familiarize yourself that much with the TOEFL. You're pretty good there. Alright, well, here's what I think. I'm going to recommend my 30-day TOEFL study guide for you. And I'm going to give you some other suggestions as well. So let's let's get right down to it. So let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm saying here. So I think first of all, I tell all my students this: read for about 45 minutes daily. Now in this case, don't read boring TOEFL materials. Actually read something you have an interest in. You need to get a little bit more used to reading and concentrating on reading materials. Number 2, I recommend listening for about 45 minutes daily as well. I think this is also good for you. Now number 3, as you're doing your listening and your reading practice, focus on your note-taking. Note-taking makes you an active reader, an active listener, an active speaker, and an active writer. Because it's how you take notes and the use you make of those notes during the integrated speaking and writing tasks that will have a really big impact on your score. So start working on those note-taking skills. Now, the 4th thing is, as you're doing the reading and the listening and the note-taking practice, I recommend writing 3 250-word summaries each week. Do this. The summaries are focusing on the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages. Also, you should be giving at least 3 60-second oral responses, I think also of the reading and listening materials using your notes. Of course, when you're doing step number 4 and step number 5, you're practicing integrated writing and integrated speaking here. So this will put you back, this will give you about an hour and a half to 2 hours every day. So start doing this. Now I'm going to say about 50% of your time right now should be spent doing this. And then I want you to start going through my 30-day TOEFL study guide here. Now, you want to make sure that you join. I know you're one of my students now, so make sure you can join my Foxy Pot discussion group where you can post your practice tests so you can start getting feedback from me. So do that. And then you can also start posting writing practice tests. And typically my teaching assistant who grades those for you, he's a little bit tougher than the actual TOEFL exam, so you'll probably do a little bit higher, but you'll start getting acquainted with your scores through him, and I will start giving you audio feedback about your speaking, and hopefully you can start figuring out what's going on here. So my hope is if you can follow this 6-step study plan, you should be able to make the improvements you need to be consistent in all 3 sections. Notice that my study guide, it helps you balance your study where you're working on your vocabulary, you're working on your pronunciation, your grammar, you're working on the listening, reading, speaking, and writing sections. Of course, 50% of your time will be going through the 30-day TOEFL study guide. Now, with the speaking, I recommend that you create what's called a speaking journal. That means as you're completing practice tests in my online TOEFL course, you're taking notes, you're writing down in the journal the advice, whatever I'm telling you, whatever advice I give you, whatever problems I tell you you have, you want to start writing these things down in your journal and start looking for patterns to see if you can figure out exactly what's causing you the most problems with your speaking. For example, do I give you mostly pronunciation feedback? Does most of my feedback focus on your grammar and your vocabulary problems? Or does a lot of my feedback focus on your topic development issues, which means how you're organizing and developing your responses? So you need to get more aware as to what exactly your problems are. Now, I do have an additional service with your writing that can be helpful. It does cost some extra money. If you want me to error correct your essay and to spend over an hour going over your essay, I actually will do a video and I will show you all of the problems you're having with your writing with either an independent or an integrated writing practice test. And what you can do is you can look at your TOEFL results and look which of the writing tasks are you scoring lower on. Do you typically get more of a lower score on the independent writing task, or is your score mostly lower when it comes to the integrated writing task? Whatever is the case, complete that type of writing task, then email it to me and I'll spend an hour going over it making corrections. Now this is an additional $50 payment. I'll be honest with you, it's not cheap. But whenever I get involved like this for over an hour, it takes me a lot of time, it takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of effort, a lot of concentration to give this kind of feedback. So if you make that payment, I'll be more than happy to go over one of your independent or integrated writing tasks. So that's probably a pretty good plan for you. So hopefully we can figure out exactly what's going on and how we can get you on the right track. You got great English skills, let's face it. I mean, you've done very well on your TOEFL. I mean, come on here, 103? Nobody's going to laugh at that. You just missed it here with that one section, am I right? So, I mean, you've done a great job. You've done very well with your English skills. You just haven't been able to put together everything on exactly the same test. And guess what? You're not alone. I've had other students who've had similar problems as you, and they also have been able to solve these problems. But it takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of time.